Yeah, well, look, I'm slightly fucked off because the duck up thing is supposed to be your shenanigan, isn't it? And you copped out by basically being lazy and said, no, you do one for once. It's season two. We better be, more efficient and more organised.
I think so. We were discussing it and working out who was going to do the duck up, and I said I'll do it because I'm worried that if you do it, you'll be better at it than me, and then I'll have nothing basically. But I back myself. I reckon my duck ups are better than yours. So if this is going to be a shit episode, you might as well stop listening now.
We agreed this at like 4 p.m. yesterday, so I've had literally no time to prepare. But
Are you
we'll see how it
Are you suggesting that I do my prep for these duck ups earlier than 24 hours before the meeting?
I'm not going to comment on that. I don't know how long it takes you to prepare for those duck ups, but yeah, it certainly feels like less than 24 hours goes into it, at least. In fact, actually, do we have anything for the listeners on our notice board? Because you can still bloody do that part of your job, can't you?
Well, I potentially wanted to, what's the word? Wrap myself out. I mean, this is actually follows into the theme of our episode because it's a procurement fuck up, but it's a personal one from me.
Oh, okay. So you hijacking the show?
Yeah, I'm the procurement duck up now.
What do you mean now? You've always been the duck up, mate.
Yeah, someone's got to do it. It's just that character that I like to play. I like to pretend that I'm not perfect all the time, just so the listeners have someone to relate to. That's what it is.
No, it makes sense.
So, do I have to say it? Well, I have to now. So I'm currently renting in my house.
Glad you clarified
yeah, you know
that
what I'm going to say. And obviously with renting comes a contract. So, what do I do every day in my job? Work with contracts. Thought, all right, no issues. Coming to the end of the tenancy, didn't realise that there was an auto renewal clause.
We didn't realise.
Well, I feel like I must have read it at some point because obviously I read the whole contract before signing it. But did I just forget about it? Potentially. So yeah, I procurement ducked up in my real life. So, if you could send in messages of support. Well, luckily now it's only on a monthly rolling, so it could have been worse. But yeah, a month longer than originally planned. But I'm just such a baller. I'm making so much money from this podcast that I can just afford
to just rent multiple places at once.
Yeah. I'm not breaking the bank at all right now.
Oh, well, that's okay. I can tell by your gold necklace as well. And those diamonds you've got embezzled on your glasses.
My gold tooth, yeah.
I thought it was a grill. I didn't realise it was just one tooth. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're being successful despite the fact you've got massive duck ups. And actually, that's a good idea for a future episode. We can take estate agents to task because I've got a bit of a gripe with estate agents at the moment myself. So, why don't we just team up and slate them for an episode?
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be procurement related. If you just want to get personal about the agent that you're working with, that's fine. We'll call them out.
Old Dave Smith from Bonington Estate Agents.
Please tell me that's actually the name of the agents. That would be so good. Just calling him out. So I've for the notice board, I've got a couple of bits. I know we've got some exciting guests lined up in future episodes, and I think, well, I don't know if you want to put a teaser out there, but there's some cracking experts lined up. I think we've got a couple of directors who are going to give us some insights as to their successful paths in procurement and what they see as advice for us out there who are trying to climb the ladder. And a couple more. So I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, there's plenty to look forward to in season 2. And I think you should strap in for the first duck up of the season. Right. Luke, over to you for the intro, mate.
Bam, 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 bam. Hello and welcome to Let's Talk. What do we do again? Procurement. What's the next bit? It's been so long in between seasons that I've forgotten what. Oh, it's something about. There's multiple places where you can learn about the art of whatever this is, but we might or might not be in the top 10. So yeah, come along for the ride. Is that it?
That was
Or is that my
awful
other? That's my other procurement
Underwhelming.
podcast that I run.
and very disappointing, actually. This is why we don't swap roles, because now I'm gonna, if my duck up's gonna be as bad as your intro, this is just gonna be a howler, and it's never gonna go live, is it? So
I like to think that
Brilliant.
we're starting badly, so all we do is improve from now on.
yeah, okay, yeah, let's start with the bar low, like we did in the first season. So today's episode, I thought, what can I come up with for a duck up? And then I kind of thought, well, Luke 10, what do I know about him? And then I went, I know, he's a bit of a tank. So I thought I'd do some research and find a little duck up on tanks. Kind of cool, right? Get the male energy going. Start talking about tanks and boys' toys.
Yeah, I'm excited already.
Good. So rolling back to 2014, there was a contract award made by the MOD. For those of you not in the UK, MOD is the Ministry of Defence. So, the UK is basically defence body. And they awarded a company called General Dynamics, who are a American company, a £5.5 billion fixed price contract. Right? That's quite a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I wouldn't turn it down.
No, could be worse. And
Would you say General Dynamics
General Dynamics, yeah.
or GD,
Company.
as us in the industry call them?
Yeah. Obviously, you were clearly familiar with them, so yeah, I'm glad you just went straight to their abbreviated name. So, the contract award included the requirement to deliver 589, very specific number, that 589 Ajax armoured vehicles by 2017. Did I just
Okay.
hear you ask me, Luke, what's an Ajax armoured vehicle when it's at home? Did you just ask that?
Yes, I'm going to say yes, I did.
Oh, luckily I foresaw that coming. Right. So Ajax, right, is the future of armoured fighting vehicles. Exciting.
Future?
Well, yes. Bearing in mind this was awarded in 2014, this is considered the future. The next generation of armoured fighting vehicles, fully digital and fully integrated. So between land, air and sea, fully integrated.
Is that the does that mean it can go through all the elements of what's it? Fire, water, earth, wind. That's how it works, isn't it?
I don't know. It feels like you're naming an 80s band there.
Earth, wind, and
You
fire.
Yes, come on, get in. I thought you wouldn't know that. I was thinking, oh god, stinker. So the idea of it, right, is it's supposed to enable soldiers to see first, decide first, and act first on a modern battlefield. Equipped with best-in-class protection, durex, and survivability. It's mobile, reliable, and all-weather intelligence. Okay.
Are you on commission
It's-
for them?
No, because we're going to take them to town in a minute. So it's called what we call ISTAR, which is intelligent surveillance, target acquisition, and recognition. So pretty damn sexy, right? Full network, full spectrum, reduced logistics footprint as well. And their claim is each Ajax variant has been future-proofed to ensure it can be upgraded quickly and effectively throughout its service, with a surplus payload capacity and an open electronic architecture that is stable, secure, and safe. So it's ready to deal with combat future threats. How's that going in, mate? Is that turning you on a little bit?
My brain
Quite happy with that?
It's not processing in my brain, but I'm sure it makes sense to someone out there.
Brilliant. Just as well you don't work in that sector, isn't it? So how's that sounding to you? These 589 Ajax vehicles sound good, right? All inclusive, supposed to be used for armoured reconnaissance.
Damn procurement quote-unquote specialist. Can't even say the word reconnaissance.
And it is basic. Thank you, reconnaissance. It's to replace vehicles from the 1960s. So completely outdated vehicles that we don't actually do anything with that's beneficial at the moment. So, complete revamp, all digital, all technology, singing and dancing, great for recon, and kind of goes with the new digital kind of battlefields that we envision. So General Dynamics were given a £5.5 billion fixed price contract, and they were billion with the B.
Billion. Oh, you said million at first.
No, bills. Yeah, bills.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of money.
5.5 bills. So quite a few stacks to build just 589 of these armoured vehicles, and to deliver them in 2017. So
what's that per vehicle then? If there's only 500
Well, I know you're good at maths, mate. If you just want to just do a quick off the top of your head estimate.
5.5. I'm going to guess. Hold on.
What do you mean, hold on? Why am I holding on to guess? How many zeros?
Make an educated guess. I'm doing my mental calculator. I'm going to guess it's about, that can't be right, 9.3 million for each vehicle.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I can maybe I can afford a second house to rent, but I can't afford even one of those tanks. So yeah. Got me disappointed now after listing all their features.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Well, you just have to stick to your Fiat 500. So the Turbo. Ajax, Turbo Max. The General Dynamics, right, have a number of suppliers that are all listed as their kind of supporting supply chain. Includes their own European Land Systems branch, Lockheed Martin, Thales, Kongsberg, Barco, General Electric. Quite a hefty chain, and there's allegedly some SMEs in there that support with the kind of jazzy technical side as well. So real big, massive operation to get it all done by 2017. My next question to you is, what year is it right now?
Well, if I'm mental age of about 35, then I would guess that the year is 2024 currently.
Well done.
So that's 10 years after the contract was. Okay.
Not bad. And how many of those 589 vehicles do you think have been delivered to date?
So they were requested to be delivered in 2017, right?
Yes.
So I would hope, and since this is a procurement duck-up, I know everything always goes right. I would hope that they've all 589 have been delivered by now.
Brilliant.
How far off
so 589 off?
Oh, they were 1,000 and they delivered 589 extra.
Yeah, that's it. No, they've not delivered anything yet. So why is that? Well, there's a number of reasons, okay? And this is going to be interesting. So bear in mind it was a 3-year contract to deliver 589 vehicles. That's quite ambitious for the MOD. That's quite a lot of things to be done in a short time period, and a lot of things that would need to go through their internal approvals and all of that good stuff. The 589 armoured vehicles were plagued with delays and safety concerns, and the programme has been delayed several times. So the different rollout dates has changed, I think, 4 times so far already. There's been multiple reports. Obviously, it's public procurement, so there's been a lot of kind kind of audits and retrospective lessons learned and things like that have gone on. It's been said that individuals have made errors of judgment, and there has been a huge element of optimism bias, which has infected the thinking of senior officials in an attempt to meet the deadline. Okay. There was no misconduct by individual civil servants, and the failures are considered systematic and institutional within the government.
Is that expose on our own government then?
A little bit, yeah. However, equally, the new one of the new schedules that was agreed was done so after noise and vibration issues were found. So let me just get my little thing up. That sounds really sus. List of things that weren't in my notes. That was one of them. Yeah. So basically the noise and vibration caused personal injury to some of the individuals who were testing it.
Okay.
And
personally, I don't know about you, but personally, if I was in the army, I wouldn't want to be injured by my own tank.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah. They probably got other things to try and avoid injury them
from.
Yeah. So I'm going to dive into the kind of report. Well, actually, the fractious relationships and some of the things that were mentioned. Armoured cavalry program. So this is the kind of, it's considered like a 10-year spend plan that looks at what the UK are going to do with their budget and how they're going to invest it. Right, and this is really interesting. This is number one. One of the key findings of the review was a lack of appreciation of diverse and contrary voices, especially from those working on the shop floor. These voices were not fully included and were too easily dismissed. This led to individuals going outside of their chain of command to ensure that their voices were heard in the right places. And the next one, which is linked quite nicely to it, there was a marked failure to escalate information about problems for situational awareness purposes. Seniors would appreciate knowing rather than being kept in the dark. However, they weren't necessarily given the right information from the people in their teams. So this was particularly evident in the case with the emerging concerns around noise and vibration. There was a failure to escalate those concerns properly, and it took a considerable amount of time before anyone looked at the matter strategically and actually questioned what was really going on. The other emphasis from MOD was to keep to time. So they basically suggested that the initial dates were immovable, and although there was a rationale for trying to get to those dates, it put kind of negative effects into the team at General Dynamics, created pressure within MOD, and drove quite a lot of unhelpful behaviours. So the relationships were fractured and complicated across the different government departments. So they all had different viewpoints about what their roles were within the programme, and they were all taking their time in making decisions and basically trying to focus on their own goals rather than the actual project at hand.
Interesting. So I know we talk sometimes about conflicting interests.
Yes.
In the procurement, well, stakeholders versus finance versus us versus sales. So I can see why that would be a big set of confusion.
Yeah. So one of the things is they rely on information from their relative departments, which might be the branch that looks at the technical side of things, the branch that looks at the cyber side of things, and then their own core central delivery agent as well. So you've got all of these different points of contact that have to go through, or in theory should be doing their relevant approvals on each part of the Ajax armoured vehicle, and they were kind of treading on each other's toes, and they weren't approving things on behalf of the other side, and delays were stemming from that. So yes, conflict of kind of goals, but also a real lack of clarity and communication from the outset. It's also felt that from the start of the project, those who are on the workshop or ground level felt that the huge technical design, plus the demonstrations that were required and the manufacturing challenges, and the number of different suppliers in the supply chain meant that it was always going to be tight to meet the 3-year requirement to obviously do that and meet the standards that are required in the bid. And lastly, they blamed COVID a little bit and said national lockdowns caused a disruption to the supplier's ability to deliver.
I mean, that's kind of fair, especially if they're from a different country like America and they've got to, isolate if they come into the UK, or, there's different requirements for different countries.
Yeah. That is fair. Yeah, I'll give you that, especially knowing the shops are shut down and all of that good stuff. So pretty fair. However, if they're supposed to have delivered them by 2017,
okay, yeah,
I don't think COVID was around then, was it?
That's the point that I didn't think of. Wow.
The science and technology team in particular had sent hundreds of emails, held meetings and provided reports which basically highlighted the technical and safety concerns with the vehicles. They were raised in 2017, 2018, 2019 and 2020, to which they have still not been satisfactorily addressed to this day.
Wow.
So the supplier, who is operating on a fixed price contract, and don't get me wrong, it's £5.5 billion, so it's a pretty big amount to be working with, but they're working to obviously a fixed set of deliverables, but they've been struggling to get what they need. Do you think this is a procurement duck up, or do you think this is a program duck up, or something else?
I would say, from my expertise, that it feels more like a program duck up, but then it's one where procurement haven't kind of, I don't know if they've not been able to, if they've tried to, or if they've just kind of missed it, but they've not blocked in the right way.
Yeah.
Because if so many, that team's saying, the science team is saying, the science nerds are all saying, there's going to be concerns. Procurement haven't listened to those concerns, or if they have listened, then it hasn't influenced their decision or their kind of, outcome of the tender, for example.
Yeah. Well, what was kind of interesting is there's kind of been a culture of the junior members of the project team were trying to resolve it at their level and were reticent to report it up to the seniors, and then the seniors were, even if they were aware of the issues, were content to report a positive view. So the superiors obviously reporting to a board level or whatever the most senior level is, would always say, yeah, we're on time, it's going to get done, no worries, hunky-dory, what safety issues sort of vibe. So
right,
the whole chain of communication was just messed up from the start. Taking it a little bit deeper, the one of the other criticisms, aside from the internal politics side of it, has been the public procurement process around it, saying that there's been no demonstration of agile behaviour from MOD on this project. They've said it's 5.5 billion, it's fixed price, you're signing up to it and you're delivering it within 3 years, whatever it needs to be. And even when there was trouble, they were just basically saying, well, it's still fixed price, you're still delivering it by this date, and we're still not moving. And beyond that, despite them causing a number of the delays, it appears that they are still trying to stick to the 5.5 billion fixed price. But obviously, time's gone on, delays gone on, the suppliers' costs have gone up, so it's quite messy in that sense.
So in the situation of the procurement people for GD,
yeah,
I suppose it's going to be quite important for them. Well, it's a bit late now, but probably in the bidding stage, for them to work with their suppliers to work out what the kind of dependencies are. For example, they need specs of the tanks or the armoured vehicles from the client, MOD, in order to be able to tell their wheel supplier how big to make the wheels, for example.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's one of those situations where sometimes you don't know everything before you submit a price, right? So how could they, if they assume some sort of information and then they later found out that that assumption was wrong, how could they go about fixing that?
Well, it's interesting. It's like you say, it is supplier relationship management within your own supply chain, and it's got to be around flexibility in our subcontracts. But to be honest, everyone's kind of fucked in that supply chain situation. Like, it's really hard because your customer is the public sector, so you've been given a contract that's take it or leave it. It's 5.5 billion, so you've obviously just gone, yeah, we'll take it. Signed up to these supply with this supply chain, and they're all going to be in different situations, affected by things differently. In an ideal world, you would have fixed price with your supply chain, so what your margins are and what but that's an ideal world, right? How often do you agree to completely fix with everybody?
Yeah, exactly what I was just thinking, and I would be sort of interested to know about the payment terms from the MOD to GD, because if those payment terms are different to what they've got in the subcontracts, that's obviously going to cause a massive cash flow issue. Yeah,
no, spot on. My guess would be it would be a milestones type thing, so it would have been testing, user acceptance testing of the actual devices, the devices of the tanks, and then obviously rolling out as and when they get delivered. So the idea was that they start delivering them from 2017, and then hopefully, I think it was within a year or two that they were all delivered. But yeah, not gone great. The other thing that was kind of interesting was that the earlier versions got criticised because they were told that they can't travel faster than 20 miles an hour, and they can't fire their cannon while they're moving.
Right. That doesn't seem too useful for a tank.
Yeah. So, and that was something that certain departments within the government had requested as part of the spec, and then other departments, when we're testing it and trying to look at the prototypes, etc., have gone, why can't I fire this? There's an enemy over there, I'm driving. Or, holy shit, there's 5 tanks behind me trying to chase me and I can't go over 20. Like, what?
Have you seen that? Have you seen Mr. Bean's Holiday? Where this is a random tangent. Where he's waiting, he gets stranded. I mean, this is a spoiler. He gets stranded in the middle of the French countryside.
He does
waiting for a bus, and there's a guy comes along with a really slow motorbike, and he takes the motorbike. He tries to drive off, but it's so slow the guy just walks up next to him.
I've seen that.
I feel like that would be, if they can only go 20 miles an hour, maybe the other enemies will just walk up alongside him, open the hatch, bang, that's my tank now.
Yeah, and we don't want that, do we?
So if they haven't been delivered yet, does that mean that we're still using tanks from the 60s? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
To replace ones from the 60s?
Yeah, so the main aim of them is that they're bloody word, reconnaissance tanks, right?
Get Google to say it.
Yeah, so they're reconnaissance tanks, which means obviously they're there for surveillance and stuff. So should be this kind of first line of things that are rolled out to then help the rest of the armies. But yeah, we're still stuck on outdated versions for as long as these sort of take to get rolled out.
Yeah, I mean, what they could do is stop a piano getting dropped on an army officer, because do you know what they'd be? They'd be A flat major. Had to get a joke in there to duck up.
Yeah, of course. I should have brought some tank jokes in, but not firing today. So interestingly, obviously, this comes at a time where everyone is under pressure to spend more on their defence in general. So across Europe and kind of the broader political spectrum, there's a microscope under the political parties that are in charge, and there's certain situations where the UK has supported another country with, firearms or kind of involvement and monetary support. At the same time, the UK army is down to like 80,000 people, which is its lowest number in decades, and we can't even successfully deliver on our latest vehicles. So there's a lot of scrutiny on this and the project, and to be honest, the procurement process around it, saying that it should never have been fixed price in the first place, or they should have built in some more agility in the contract because the contract's really rigid. So yeah, it feels like a public procurement consequence, a consequence of using the public tenders, giving everyone a fair shot. What I don't have full sight of is what General Dynamics have or haven't done well, if you see what I mean. So
yeah,
granted there were failures, like the tank wouldn't go over 20 miles an hour, but it seemed like they were customer driven. However, that being said, if someone comes up to me and says, right, can you make me a tank that goes less than 20 miles an hour, you feel like you should probably question it if you're a tank making company. If that's your expertise, you'd probably go, well, we can do that for you, but you might want to double check that because that's bloody slow.
Yeah, you don't know if. So what you're saying is you don't know if it was them who decided the tank would go 20 miles an hour or less, or if it was they got told to do it.
Yeah, the nature of the specification, and we don't see the full details on that. But they're meant to be really, really good, and you can have a look on the General Dynamics website, and you can look at the Ajax armoured vehicles. They've got a little video of one in motion going up all sorts of terrain.
Slowly,
looks
but
great. Yeah, yeah, pretty slow. And equally, I was kind of surprised that all this information is just available online. But that's the nature of a public.
Yeah, you know how so shout out to our Spanish and French trains episode, I came up with a solution for them. I've come up with a solution for these, right?
Yeah.
What you got to do is attach a tow bar to a Lamborghini, put a trailer on the back of it, stick the tank on that, and then the Lamborghini can drive around the battlefield. Obviously, no one's going to be able to shoot it because it's going so fast. Tank just sits on the back with a trailer. Obviously, that technically is still.
There's one.
It can just fire.
Yeah. One issue with that.
Fire.
A Lamborghini is not strong enough to tow a tank. That's the only.
How do you know? Have you tried?
Yeah, we'd have to do 10 Lamborghinis. Kind of think of like Santa's sleigh, and instead of the reindeer, you got 12 Lambos.
Yeah.
10 Lambos just tearing it up.
And it could also fall apart if we go to war with. Where's Lamborghini made? Italy.
Italy, yeah.
It could fall apart if we go to war with Italy, because I'm sure they would stop the supply of Lamborghinis to us.
We'd say we'd have to use a British car, but I don't think there's many left anymore. They're kind of all outsourced, aren't they? Like even Ford's gone.
Ford is always American, isn't it?
No, Ford started
Jaguar.
Ford started as English, yeah. Or Aston Martin, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Or Mini Coopers, the original Minis. Yeah, who knows? I mean, that's kind of where we're at. So, can tie Mini Coopers to a tank.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't say we never do anything productive on this podcast. We've just solved a £5.5 billion problem.
Well, I don't think we have actually, because there's one other issue.
Dun, dun, dun.
The stakeholder engagement within the MOD. How do you fix what they are saying is an intrinsic issue where you've got different departments and divisions with different goals and kind of understandings of what their roles are, and you've then got junior members of teams who are either not being heard, not having a voice, or not reporting correctly. And you've then got the senior members who are just sitting there with their rose-tinted glasses on because they don't want to admit to their seniors that there's anything wrong. How does procurement support that, I should say? Not how do we resolve it, because that's not necessarily our task, but how does procurement support that?
I was going to say I did want to become a management consultant when I was younger, but
Was that
I
your dream?
haven't. Yeah.
But you became a lino instead.
Not an astronaut. Yeah. How can procurement do that? I mean, the one thing that came to my mind initially was some governance around how what gets sent to the supplier. Making sure that maybe you've got the kind of everyone's approval, so the specialist, someone can be designated as SME to approve, you know, they're the specialist on the payloads that get put into the tank that get fired, so they need to tell us how big the turret needs to be, for example. But I mean, apart from that, I don't really know, to be honest. So this is where you prepared a whole list.
No, stakeholder engagement and management. So identifying your stakeholders is important, and you know, they could have used a kind of Mendelow's matrix to kind of plot where their stakeholders sit, understand where they belong and how they should engage them. But it feels also a little bit like perhaps the procurement process, once the tender was won, maybe slipped off a little bit. So the procurement professional might have then moved on to whatever their next procurement target was, and maybe didn't keep tabs on the suppliers or watch how deliveries go in and kind of make sure. And look, we're not project managers, right? That's the project manager's job, is to manage their projects. However, we do have a vested interest to make sure that the suppliers are delivering to the contract. And in doing a bit of investigative work into that, you probably find out that those suppliers haven't been able to get relevant information from relevant parties, or that they're missing XYZ from your team, to which you then sometimes, unfortunately, you've just got to bite the bullet and go and do some digging and slapping and throat choking yourself. I think it's very rare that we would just, you know, issue some successful bids, and then we would just let them just, you know, do what they want, or let our program team just run amok without kind of checking in on them and making sure that there's a level of involvement. Because equally, they're going to lose out on their savings.
Yeah, that is true. So a lack of contract management.
Yeah, and I think also shout out to Nigel, but maybe supplier performance management as well. So that's the sort of stuff that will help keep it on track. It doesn't necessarily solve your internal issues as such, but you know, a procurement professional acts without bias, or is supposed to, and can be impartial in a way that you're kind of stringing the different departments and subject matters experts together, making sure the right people are involved. Quite often the business doesn't include the right stakeholders, so we have to say, well, why haven't we got, you know, Dave, the tank expert, on this call when we're discussing tanks?
Yeah.
So
do you think that their orders were too vague, and is it because they always talk in general terms?
I don't even know what to say back to that, mate. It's giving me a major headache. Do you think if we were in the army, we would be lieutenants?
Yeah, if our surname was David Tennant.
Oh yeah. So that's what I had really. I'm not gonna lie, I prefer it when you do the duck up, because I have to do related it to the procurement world that we're in and what our sort of viewpoint is. But it feels like I've had to do a little bit of both, which is fine.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you've got Messi on your team, you kind of build the team around him, and everyone else has got to do the hard work. Messi just kind of walks around and gets involved when he needs to. So that's what I see as my role in this.
So you think you're Messi?
Yeah, and that's the second football reference of the pod.
So you're Lionel Messi getting all the credit, and then I know Kevin McAllister doing all the dirty work for the national team.
The guy from Home Alone.
Oh yeah, wait, that's not his name, is it? It's not Kevin, is it?
Who are you on about?
Oh shit.
You're on about Alexis.
McAllister. Alexis, that's it.
McAllister.
Yeah. I was thinking Kevin's not a very Argentinian name, is it?
Big Kev.
Absolute
Kev, the
shocker.
Argentinian.
You wouldn't want Kevin in your team. He always goes missing. Yeah. Why are you laughing about that? That's sick. Come on, off the top of my head. Kevin McAllister always goes missing.
See?
Yeah.
Is this a Home Alone joke?
It's a Home
I've not seen
Alone
it.
slash football. You've not seen Home Alone?
Well, I've seen the parts where he trips them up and burns them and stuff.
Who are you?
I think I've only seen the first one. To be fair, it's probably in cinemas about 10 years before I was born, but yeah.
Well, you didn't have cinemas then, so. Yeah, you could say and then nothing else. Just
What month did it come out? And was it the same month that is every troop's least favourite month? March.
can I go now?
Do you know why the wait? What's the joke? What do you call an army officer who hates recycling?
No idea.
General waste. See, this is the jokes that would have come up if I'd have done it. I'm disappointed there weren't many.
I don't think there was any, was there? But yeah, apologies for that. No, we'll let you do the duck up next time, and we'll give the people what they want, and that's they want Messi, not
Yeah.
Kevin McAllister, who's now a crackhead, isn't he?
I have no idea.
Fairs.
Is that
So I think that's a
duck
wrap.
up?
Yeah, and I think, look, if you've managed to get this far, Aaron's cropped out a good 40% of it, especially the bit where we had a little break and Luke had his lunch whilst I tried to find the page that I lost. And don't forget to reach out to us on our socials, which are...
Twitter, we have that. Which
Yep.
the
we don't really
username
use.
you're gonna say. Also Instagram, we have that, and
Well, our Instagram is 2 Lukes, 1 Sip. That's 2, the number 2. Lukes, 1 plural, and then Sip. And then we've got
Yeah.
our email address, our beloved email address.
which is 2 Lukes, 1 Sip. By the way, that's not our Instagram.
Never mind, our Instagram is Let's Talk Procurement, obviously.
Yeah, let's_talk_procurement.
Oh yeah, because there's some bastard who's stolen our username, Let's Talk Procurement, like just one word.
I bet it's the same person that has the email letstalkprocurement@gmail.com, which we still need to email.
Yeah, it
Can't
pisses me
believe
off.
we're in season 2, we've not done that yet.
Yeah, I always forget about him, and then I see every now and again I get a little reminder.
Yeah, so the email is 2lukes1sip@gmail.com, and that's number 2 Luke's plural, number 1 CIP@gmail.com. We also, if you just would rather make it so much easier, then we have a text us button,
Do love that.
and we also have a donation. And I'm going to say, if anyone would like to donate an amount more than, is it in dollars?
Yeah, dollars, yeah, for some reason.
If you would like to donate an amount that's more than $1.23, is that what it is in America? Then I will give you Luke One's personal mobile number.
Wow, that's cheap.
Yeah. So $1.23 for his personal mobile number. Get donating.
Can't wait to see no donations for that.
I hope someone donates $1.22 just so they don't have to have your number.
That would be incredible, wouldn't it? Anyway, I guess we'll see you on the next one.
See you later.
See you later.